Hi everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. I have a cute little Easter project idea. I want to use this for a two-tier tray that I want to decorate. So I have one of these little red trucks. It's from the Fairy Garden collection at Dollar Tree. And I'm not real crazy about how it's painted. It's kind of sloppy, and I'm not real crazy about this color of red. But I thought it would be fun to turn it into like an Easter bunny truck. And I do want to give credit where credit is due. My inspiration for this craft came from a gal named Jessica over on the Facebook chat group for Creative on the Cheap. So I'm going to be using this truck, and she used some soft ears. I'm not quite sure what she used to make the ears out of, but what I saw when I went to Dollar Tree was these little Easter egg bunnies that are full of gumballs, and I'm going to be cutting the ears and gluing the ears onto the top of the truck. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not. I've marked off where I'm going to cut it. I started trying to cut this with an X-Acto knife, but I need a new blade, I guess, on my X-Acto knife because it's not cutting through. And so I'm going to go use the saw to cut this outside in the garage. So that's my first step, is to cut out the ears and be ready to go with that. And then I'll paint this out with some Waverly Chalk Paint. And I'm going to do a couple trucks in a couple different colors. So my husband's in the process of rearranging the garage, and the saw wasn't available. So I started cutting the ears off using tin snips, which was fine and dandy. It broke them down a little smaller. I mean, they really broke. And so the pieces are smaller than I was hoping they would be. But in the long run, I think actually that might work better for fitting it onto the top of the truck. So the first thing I need to do is to paint these out the colors I want. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint the entire truck because I don't like the way that the windows are painted and the wheels are really messy. So I'm just going to paint the whole thing. And I'm going to paint one in Waverly Chalk Paint, color Agave, and I'm just going to completely paint out the truck. So I'm going to be using this old folk art home decor chalk paint. It's called, the color is Vintage Victorian, and it's old, so it's kind of chunky on me, but we're going to just do the best we can with what we've got. So I'm just going to, like I said, go ahead and paint the whole thing. All the little nooks and crannies, and it's probably going to take a couple of coats because we're covering red. And I know it's always the red farm truck, but for Easter I just wanted something a little more pastel, a little more spring color. The first coat of that one. These are not nicely painted and beautiful by any means. So now I'm going to take my heat gun to them, dry them out, and then I can do the second coat. Okay, I'm going to let these dry without taking the heat gun to them because I want them to be nice and dry and smooth. Okay, so I mixed some paint for my final coat, hopefully my final coat on my pink truck, because the folk art I have is just too old and it's not coating very well. So I took some Waverly white chalk paint, put it in a little tub, and I'm adding the Apple Barrel Pink Parfait paint until I got it to a color that I really like, and then I'm just going to brush it on. All right. I am jumping back and forth between projects today, trying to get all sorts of Easter projects finished up for you. So I'm back to my little trucks. I'm going to go ahead and paint the tires black. I like to plant my little finger on whatever I'm painting so that I steady my hand. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint the inside black as well, because I want parts of the inside to be black. And then I'm going to come around with some other colors and decide what color I want the middle. I'm just using Waverly Chalk Paint in the color Ink for this. So there's the first wheel. Only 3 more to go. I'm not trying to get all the way down inside of the fender because I don't think I need to. Okay, there's the second wheel. It got a little messy. Life goes on. I think I'm going to go ahead and paint the mirrors black. This is where the truck starts to get its personality, is when you start painting the details. And I think this little part up front. And since the back bumper's black, I think the front bumper should be also. I'm going to let that guy dry for a little bit because I think I'm done with the black. So now I'm going to move on to the pink one and get these tires painted. This one I'm not going to accent with black. I'm going to accent with white and gray because I want it to feel more like an Easter bunny. It is time to get the ears glued onto these trucks because they also need to be painted. So what I'm using is E6000. I should probably use my hot glue gun as well. Alright, so I've got my bunny ears to go on top of my truck to make it a bunny truck. And I want to be able to paint them out, so I need to get them on there right now. So I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue. My E6000 is being difficult at the moment. Alrighty. So I'm just going, remember how I showed you I cut these? So I'm going to put a good glob of E6000 on each end and a little drop of hot glue in the middle. The hot glue will hold it in place while the E6000 cures. And that's important because the roof of this truck is kind of curved. If I didn't have that hot glue holding it in place, I'm afraid the ears would fall backwards. So make sure you get your ears on straight or the way you like them. And then I'm going to glue on the other one. It doesn't take a lot of hot glue, just enough to make a bond. And if that bond breaks, that's okay because the E6000 is what's really going to be holding this on. And then I'm just kind of going around and smoothing any glue that oozes out with my finger. E6000 will roll right off your fingers, so don't worry about that. Just trying to make it look nice. Okay, so there's my 2 bunny trucks with their ears on. Now I've got to wait for the glue to dry so that I can continue on with these trucks. So I'm going to set them aside and come back when it's ready for the next step. I've been doing so much with my chalk paint that I'm starting to run low on paint. So I'm going to be this next part with the apple barrel white. I want to save my last of my white chalk paint for another project I have in mind. I tried doing with egg dark marker on the windows and I didn't like it, so I painted over it. And I've also done 2 coats of paint on the bunny ears after they dried. So I am just going to see what this looks like painted out in white. What I'm painting is the windows. I've just got to get a little definition on the truck into the different places. I'm using just like the teeniest, tiniest little brush that I have to do these windows with because it's a teeny tiny little space. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and paint the mirrors white. Also, I think the headlights will be white. Now, I think I'm going to go with a silver on the bumpers and maybe a silver right here on that one. Now, on this guy, I don't know if white is the best color. We're going to give it a try. White is easy to cover up if I need to. I think I like that better than all the black that I had on there. If you don't like the white, definitely go with the silver. Now I know that I want the trimmings on this green one to be silver or gray, and I have a gray paint pen that I want to use, or not paint pen, alcohol pen. So I'm going to go ahead and paint these white because the silver will cover over the white nicely, a lot nicer than it will over this green. So I'll let these dry up a little bit. Actually, I think I'm going to do white on the ears on this one as well. Okay, now that the white has dried, I have one of these alcohol markers from Tuesday Morning, and it's CG1 Cool Gray, and I'm going to go over like the headlights. I'm trying to make them look sort of like chrome, but I don't have any metallic paint, so I'm just base coating in white and then using this silver marker. Okay, so I went ahead and put a little bit of pink paint inside of the ears on the bunny ears, and I painted, the marker wasn't working, so I did find some gray craft paint. It's not the best paint, but it worked. And I painted the bumpers and the mirrors lights and that little grill on the front in gray on both of my trucks. And now I want to be able to put an egg, an Easter egg, into the back of the truck, but farm trucks need to have little wooden sideboards. So that's what I'm working on making now. I have this bag. It's just called a bag of wood. It's from Walmart. I think it was $6, $6-ish. It has all sorts of shapes and little things, and it's just pieces of random wood that you can use for all sorts of things. But inside it are a bunch of these like extra large flat toothpicks kind of looking things. And so what I did is I'm cutting enough to make both truck beds. I'm using the rounded part to be the up and down part of the sideboard, so then the crossbars will get glued to that. But I wanted the rounded edge on that so it would be finished. So I'm cutting 8 of those. So I have 2 for each side of each truck. And I just kind of eyeballed it. I held up the stick and figured out how tall I wanted it to be. And I'm going to have it come up to the top of the back of the truck just because it's so tiny. If I make it any smaller than that, it's going to be really hard. So I'm just cutting, oops, the piece I wanted to save shot away. So got to be careful. Definitely have some eye protection on when you're doing this because these pieces, once you cut them, they just fly. So I mark where I want it, and then I grab my pieces. Okay, so that's the 8 that are pieces that are going to go up and down. Then for the pieces across, I'm just going to cut the next little section out of the toothpick thing. And I'm going to need 8 of those as well. So I'm going to cut all 8 of these, and I'll be right back. So now I've got all of my pieces cut, and if you wanted to paint them or stain them in any way, this is the time that you would do that. I've just got my glue gun heating up, and I'm going to put the truck here to the side for a second, or up close to what I'm working with. And I'm going to lay the little pieces out where I think they should go. I don't know, maybe I should glue them on first so I get them. Okay, so I'm just going to put some glue on the very bottom of my stick, and I'm going to place it on the side of my truck. And the first stick I'm going to balance right up here against my the wheel well of the truck. A little extra glue squishing out, so I'm trying to pull that out. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the other stick as well. Just putting glue on the tip, and then I'm just eyeballing it to make sure that it's pretty much level with the other stick. And then I'm just taking one of my little scrap pieces and scraping off any extra glue that looks bad. Some of it is fine if it squishes out, and some of it's not. And I'm going to do the other side. Just a little bit of glue goes a long way here. Okay, and I'm going to try to line it up with the stick across the truck so that they look the same. And then I'm going to turn it on its side, and I'm going to put the tiniest little dot of glue. You could do this with wood glue probably too, this part. Little tiny bit of glue. And I'm going to glue down my cross sections. And one more. I wouldn't use wood glue to attach the sticks to the truck, but where you're attaching the stick to the stick and it's all wood, you could totally use wood glue on that. Okay, there's my little side board there. And same here, little piece of glue, or little dot of glue, little dot of glue. Place down the stick. The reason I'm putting the glue on the crossbars, or the up and down bars, is because I don't know exactly where it's going to land on the stick, so it's just easier to do it that way, in my opinion. You do what works for you. Okay. I think that looks so cute. And then I'm going to have an egg go inside. I could put another rail across the back, but this egg's just a tiny bit big, and I'm afraid that it would not sit well. So I'm just going to put a little bit. This is a foam egg. I'm totally expecting it to kind of melt. I don't know. I might put them across the back. Let's see. What would happen if I did? Yeah, it would fit. Okay, let's do it. I just didn't think that that would go on. Okay, so I'm going to put a little stick here. I'll have to cut more for my pink truck, and that's okay. Alright, and now I don't know if these are big enough. They could be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to cut 2 more of the little straight pieces, but I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. 2 pieces that are a tiny bit bigger. I probably didn't need to hot glue in my egg if I was going to put the back on like this. I could have just set it in there. But live and learn. And I'm just trying to line up with the other pieces on the sides. I really like that. I think it looks adorable. All right, let's get some made for this side. Okay, so I've got my 6 sticks glued around, and now I'm going to glue on my crossbars on the sides. I'm not worrying about the back right now. So I got that on. Now I just need to figure out how wide I want my back sticks to be. Okay, that one's a little messier. A little bit of glue on my egg and just set it in there. All right, that is my project. Okay, here's my Dollar Tree DIY Easter truck. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. Every interaction you do helps my channel to grow. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. And this has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Everybody stay safe out there. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.